But I think it's going to be a continuing escalation. Basically, if the people talking about some sort of temporary resolution. If any resolution, if there is, it'll be only temporary. The government aim would be, with the attempt to try to diffuse the protests, buy time, and basically continue with delaying tactics to make the opposition lose their momentum. It's been a month now, 29 dead, over 1,500 arrested, and if they're able to diffuse, that's the goal. The goal is, if they're able to diffuse, is to try to kick the can down the road as soon as possible, to try to make the opposition as disunited as possible. So far, they've managed to maintain their ranks. But once again, the road ahead is very unclear. It's very ambiguous. There can be continuing violence. And then if you also, if you look at it also from a diplomatic perspective, I mean, diplomatically speaking, already at the Organization of American States, Venezuela has been increasingly isolated at the institution, but also isolated within the region. And what I mean by that is that if you look at the vote last week, it was 19 members and against 10 to try to to convene a special meeting of foreign ministers, and they're talking about removing Venezuela from the OAS. Venezuela has threatened already that it'll pull out. It'll be a 2-year process. But their strongest advocate in the region is Evo Morales of Bolivia, who he himself is increasingly isolated, particularly since many countries of the fall that had, fairly leftist governments, or you can call them pro-Chavistas, whether in Argentina or in Brazil, a lot of those governments have overturned. So, and there's been a shift, an evolution, a gradual shift to more to centrist governments, some of the center-right governments. So it's a complicated situation, not just in Venezuela, but throughout the region itself. And you have at the head of the OAS, Luis Almagro, General Secretary, who's probably one of the most vociferous diplomats in the region, who himself politically comes from the left, has been the most vociferous in condemning the violence and the status quo in Venezuela right now.